Okay, so I'm trying to get a little better with these updates because I've been really doing shit lately. But anyway, so I'm trying to make a couple more videos. So what I figured I'd show right now, I just finished up painting the little Bondo spot that I had, because there's obviously an antenna hole usually on this side. Over there's the gas caps on the opposite side. Usually is the antenna hole, but I didn't want that because I'm not going to have an antenna of any sort because there's no radio in the car. So anyway, what I did is I cut a little plug of metal and spot welded it around there, then ground that flat, took some Bondo and went over it, and there was also a dent right beside it, so I took out the dent, Bondoed over that, and I mean, it's not perfect, but it's close enough for me. Let me see if I can move some of this stuff, and I might be able to shine a light in the trunk so you can kind of get an idea of the patch that I put in. Let's see if that'll stay. And let's see if I can turn on my phone light, maybe. See if that'll give you enough light. Where the fuck is it? Must be over here. I don't know, you guys might be able to see it. I cannot from where I'm standing or sitting. But let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it right there. Yeah, okay, so maybe you guys can see it. I can't get my head in the trunk that far. But up there is the patch. Anyway, so whatever. I don't know if you can see that or not, but whatever. Basically, like I said, I just spot welded it and you know, then bonded over it. So I got over that. That's done. I got the rear bumper on. It's pretty solid. What I did was over here, instead of bolting it, I just used a zip tie because that's real easy. And if that breaks, it's not like the whole bumper is going to fall off. It doesn't really matter. So then the back of this bumper, there's a support piece. There's like a black plastic support piece back here. So basically what I did with that was drilled some pilot holes, put some lag screws in there, and then I've got nylon bushings holding the bumper up about that far. So there's obviously what you can see here, the head of the bolt, the washer, then the bumper, then a nylon bushing, and then it goes into this that plastic piece there at the bottom. So anyway, that's holding it on real good. That's been real solid, and same deal on the other side, just a zip tie over there. You know, you probably wouldn't want to stand on this bumper, but you know, it's solid for what it is. I'm not too worried about it. Cosmetically, it looks, you know, well, I mean, the bumper's rough, obviously, but spacing and everything is correct. All the panel gaps are good. Obviously, I'm missing the back piece, but it should be real straight once everything is there. The reason that I had to use the lag screws was there's a bar that usually runs, I think, from somewhere over here underneath this, and already has like pre-drilled screw holes in it. So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, like 10 screws that go all the way across. My car didn't come with that. I don't know where it's at. I'm not gonna buy one and wait for it to come off of eBay. They're like 40, 50 bucks anyway. So for $12 in lag screws and miscellaneous hardware, I got that mounted up nice and solid. So anyway, so happy with that, happy with how that turned out. Mounted the taillights back up. Got a mount going for the cluster here. I put that liquid electrical tape stuff on the back of this so we don't short anything important, just in case. And then basically that is going to sit like that. I got these two I welded some bolts on here. There's nuts and stuff on there. It's obviously going to go in the front, but just so you get an idea, it's going to sit like that, and should work out pretty good. So anyway, coming along. I still have a bunch of wiring to finish. I actually haven't even finished any of the wiring since I made the last update. Oh, I did put the window in here. I think I might have said that in the last update. I don't remember. But yeah, I put the window regulator from my other car in this car because I got new window regulators for the other car. So anyway, now it's solid. I also greased up the actuator because it was being real sticky, and like when you'd close the door, it wouldn't want to close. But anyway, I fixed that, so I just sprayed some lithium grease in there, and yeah, so it lubed up pretty well, and it seems to be fine. Oh yeah, I got this really crappy mirror. It's like it's a cut and stick mirror, and basically they're garbage. I didn't know that. I thought they'd be decent, but it's actually really shit. So I don't know if you can really tell, but if you move, like if this gets bent at all, the reflection is just trashed. And so anyway, I ended up Gorilla Gluing it to the outside of this mirror, and it's not perfectly. I mean, it sort of works. You can kind of see what's behind you. Definitely not the best though. And it'd probably be smart for me to buy another mirror at some point, but we'll see if that ends up happening or not. So anyway, that's kind of where we stand. For the rest of tonight, it's getting really cold out here. It's like 50 something right now. It's going down in the 40s. So anyway, I'm gonna pull the car in, and I'm gonna work on the passenger side brake over there because it grabs. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Might not be able to hear it, but anyway, if you can't hear it, it's groaning when the car moves, and it's stopping it from actually moving freely. And I thought it might have been the fender, but it's not. I mean, this clears barely, but it clears. So anyway, yeah, that side brake is grabbing when it's just sitting still. I know the Miatas have kind of a problem with that. It seems like the front brakes, since they're not adjustable, sometimes just wear out or get rusty, like the slider pins either get rusty or something like that, or the actual piston might get rusty and keep it from moving freely. So anyway, I've got new, well, not new, but some other calipers to put on here. So shit, just set that in the wet paint. That was smart. But anyway, so yeah, some new calipers to put on there, so it should be straight. So that should be a quick job. I just got to unbolt the old ones, bolt in the new ones. Should be real easy. So anyway, that's kind of where we're standing right now. And yeah, I'll try and make another update video probably when I'm doing the brakes. But yeah, I'm trying to, now that I'm, I took a whole week off to work on this thing, so now that I'm off, it's a little easier to make update videos because I have a lot more time on my hands. But yeah, we're getting down to the end here. So anyway, that's it for now. Alrighty, so didn't make an update on the passenger side just because I didn't think about it. I just started thinking about it as I was doing the driver's side. But basically the same thing was wrong with both of them. So basically these slider pins, there's a slider that goes in this and in this right here, and they're basically two just rails that this brake slides against. When you push the brakes, it'll slide. Actually, I think it slides this way to apply the pad pressure to the rotor. And so basically, when those get old, after all the heat cycles and stuff that brakes go through every day, and for years and years and years, the grease inside these things just starts to break down and just gets really, really sticky and doesn't lubricate anymore. So basically what happens is even when you let off the brakes, the slider pins don't disengage, and it lets your pads really drag. I mean, I can't really show you, I don't have three hands, but it was really dragging. So basically you just lubricate those a little bit. They come out real easy. There's two bolts, one here and one, I think that's it right there, in the back of the knuckle there, and you just take the caliper off, take the rotor off with it, pull the rotor out from it, and just grease them. Basically, I cleaned them out with engine degreaser, and then washed them out with just water, and then greased them up with this 20-year-old can of grease and wheel bearing lubricant. So anyway, this stuff is good because it's high temp stuff. There you go. Heat resistant, rust resistant, water resistant. Good stuff, works real well. So put a bunch of that in there, and you can see, even just moving it with my fingers, there's no problem with that. You can see it compressing right here. It's a bushing obviously, but so they slide real nice now, and the rotor spins freely. So anyway, the pads do drag a little bit, but apparently you want a little bit of drag on your pads. I didn't really know that, but anyway, I was reading a thing online, and they in the even the like the Miata manual, when you're adjusting like the rear, these aren't adjustable, but when you're adjusting the rear brakes, it says allow the pads to drag just a little tiny bit. I mean, you adjust it just until it touches the rotor, but you don't really want it to drag on the rotor. You just want it just barely touching, so that when you have it, you have like a good firm pedal all the time. So anyway, that's about the stage we're at right now. So I'm going to throw the wheel back on, and that'll be it. So anyway, fix that up. Passenger side works just the same, which is really good because this side was dragging a little bit, not nothing real bad, but the other side was almost I almost couldn't turn the wheel using pretty much like all my strength. Like when the car was jacked up, I couldn't even turn the wheel hardly. And then as the hub just like this, I couldn't even like move. Like I couldn't even budge the rotor when the wheel was off of it. So and I noticed like pushing it in and out of the garage, the brakes would groan on that side, and so that's pretty much what led me to the slider pins. So anyway, now that they work good, I'm going to throw this wheel back on, set her down, and then check on the diff, because I think the diff is leaking. I jacked it up in the rear when I was doing the bumper today. I jacked up the car by the diff, and when I brought my jack out, there was diff oil all over the top of the jack, so I think there's a leak back there somewhere. So anyways, that's that. We're just gonna see what's going on there, but now that the brakes are done, we're good to go pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much ready to drive now, unless the diff is empty, which is a possibility. I suppose I should check that before I get ahead of myself, but regardless, we're getting there. So anyway.